Guys, it's going down this weekend at UFC 294 with Makhachev stepping into a rematch with Volkanovski. My partners at DraftKings are offering an incredible offer for all new customers who sign up using the promo code Sonnen. New customers who bet just $5 on any of this weekend's fights will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. You can even use your bonus bets on DraftKings same fight parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same fight, including number of rounds or method of victory. Remember, DraftKings is the only place where you can bet same fight parlays. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. So click on the link below and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Kamaru Usman thinks he can beat Chimaev. Kamaru Usman's heard about Chimaev from the day Chimaev got into the organization. Kamaru Usman was a champion of the world when a young Chimaev came in and on his very first week fought twice. At two different weight classes, the lower weight class second, which makes that story most impressive. So, from that perspective, you then have Chimaev, who is going to smash everybody. Now, I'm quoting, right? They had media scrums yesterday. There's nothing new here. But hey, Chimaev, Paulo's out. Kamaru's in. That is a match, Chimaev versus Kamaru. That is a match that has never not been discussed after the first week Chimaev got into the UFC. It was Fight Island. It was the pandemic. Chimaev fought. There's a show the very next week. Somebody pulls out. Chimaev is still in town. He weighs in and fights again. And now all of a sudden, he's got two stoppages. He's been hit one time in two fights. Absolute domination at two different weight classes with a smile on his face and a wonderful attitude. With Kamaru Usman, the first and only welterweight that you could ever argue against George St. Pierre and not look foolish in doing it. He's got it here, right? He's chasing the ghost of the greatest. This is Kamaru. He's chasing the idea, which is nearly impossible to beat, and he was gaining ground on it, the idea of GSP's legacy. And all of a sudden, he's going to look around and go, huh? What? How do you say this guy's name? Who is he? The 24-year-old kid who had two fights against opponents that you couldn't state their first and last name for either? And you're asking me about him? I'm chasing St. Pierre's leg. You're asking me about him? I bring this to you because contrary to how your minds might remember that, Kamaru Usman never said no to that fight. There was times where Kamaru Usman's kind of looking around going, hey, what are you doing asking me this? There's guys that are ranked. There's guys in place. This guy doesn't have a ranking yet. What are you doing here? But he never said no. The first no we had was at a media day at Madison Square Garden where Dana White finally answered it. And speaking about Chimaev, he said the guy needs another 4 fights. So that was the first day that we could finally stop that talk. And the only thing that was keeping Chimaev and Usman apart was the World Championship. Had Usman not had the World Championship, Dana never would have made the comment. Whether you would have got them together or not, right? Whole lots of things that goes into that, but I'm just sharing for you. The moment that Kamaru lost the championship, there's now nothing stopping him and Chimaev other than Chimaev left the weight class. And Kamaru, who could have used that as an excuse, did not. It's very fascinating. It is a very fascinating thing because imagine that belt, right? Let's go back to the belt. The only thing difference now, the only reason this fight is made is because the belt does not exist. So let's go back and say that it does. Imagine what Kamaru would be up against. Here's a guy who's chasing and gaining ground on a ghost, on the legacy of GSP. You know how hard that is to defeat? But he was gaining on it, and he's got to go deal with this kid. Now imagine that got signed. Imagine how Kamaru would have felt. You know how disrespected he would have felt? Do you know how angry you guys would have been? Nate Diaz was within the division. RDA was within the division. One phone call gets Eddie Alvarez back in the division. Leon Edwards is sitting in the division. Gilbert Burns in the division. You go bring a guy that's not even ranked and you stick him in there. He's only had 4 fights. It was impressive, and he stopped all the guys, and 2 at this weight class and 2 at that. But aside from that, imagine what Kamaru would have been up against, we thought. Turns out that's not the way Kamaru's mind worked. The first chance Kamaru had to do the calling as opposed to be called, he took it. What does he see? Is there something physical in nature that he sees? Or is it personal? Is there something that was said along the way that stuck with Kamaru that he hasn't revealed to us? I'll tell you one thing. When Kamaru was breaking down a hypothetical matchup with Chimaev at 170, Kamaru said, I've taken a look at this guy with my manager, Ali Abdelaziz. And Ali suggested to me, and I agree with him, we're going to have to deal with this Chimaev at some point. Let's do it as soon as we can. And that was a huge compliment. Because what Kamaru and Ali are saying is as good as this guy is, as good as this hype is, he's got potential and he's going to be better. It's 100% what he's saying. It was very much a Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez. Very much. Where Floyd didn't speak these same words, but he did it for the same reasoning. Which is, I see greatness, but he's not fully developed yet. I don't know that I can beat him now, but I know my chances to beat him now versus in 3 years are much better now. A huge compliment by Kamaru Usman. Whether it's competitive and because he wanted to fight or not, it was a compliment by the champion. Now, let's take a look at Chimaev. Chimaev, how are you going to do with Kamaru Usman? Chimaev, Paulo Costa is out. You have a new opponent. I'm going to smash him, brother. I'm going to smash everybody. I smash everybody, brother. I like that. I'm very much into the attitude and the consistency of the messaging by Chimaev to say, and I quote, I will smash him. I smash everybody. I like it. I like it. But time out. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to smash him. I smash everybody. Who's everybody? You've only had, what, is it 6 fights in the UFC? If I'm wrong, it's only been 5. And you did smash. But who's everybody? So I think what we're talking about is not just those 5 to 6 matches. I think we're also talking about the practice room. And if you smash him because you smash everybody, did you ever face a national champion? Did you ever face a world champion? Because you're facing both. Did you ever face a guy whose conditioning was better than yours? Did you ever face a guy that was more experienced or stronger than you? I don't know how relevant those things are, but I would like to know. When he's out there smashing people because he smashes everybody. He in competition, being Chimaev, he in competition has never smashed a national champion wrestler. Never. He's never even faced one. As a matter of fact, I don't know of a wrestler that he's faced. I don't know of a wrestler that he faced. Of all his opponents, I don't know if one of them has ever put on a singlet. So, does he have that in the training room? I don't think so. Not that I know of. How big of a deal is that? I'm just throwing out the idea that when you talk about smash him because I smash everybody, I think, based on what I know and have seen, I think this is a very different style. And I would also like to bring back that conditioning comment that I just made. If you're going to deal with Chimaev, if you're going to have any chance of dealing with him, you're going to have some ability to nullify a position, which means to stop his takedown. Well, we're giving him a national champion. I think that that's a good argument and a good expectation that those takedowns are not going to come easy. They're going to be at a premium. And now we have the weaponization of pace where Chimaev can just go hard. He can go harder than the competition. I have not seen anything from him except greatness. Remember Chimaev, I've only seen greatness, but I haven't seen anything from him that makes me believe he can go harder than Kamaru Usman. As a matter of fact, I would make that same statement that I just made, that I have no evidence to this point that Chimaev can go harder than Kamaru Usman. I would make that same statement if this were a 5-round fight. The fact that it's only 3 only adds confidence and support to my narrative that Chimaev is not going to have the pacing advantage. And 2 things that Chimaev always has is a wrestling and a pacing advantage. Both of those are nullified. I'm not ready to say he doesn't have them, because to say he doesn't have them means that Usman has them. I just think they're a wash. Like, who's a better wrestler between Usman and Colby Covington? Would not be worth us wasting our time debating, since they fought and neither one could take the other one down. So whoever's better, it doesn't matter. How good is your wrestling compared to mine? It's good enough. You aren't going to take me down. I am not going to take you down. Right? It's just one of these spots where we are guaranteed something different. And just because Chimaev doesn't have a grappling advantage, and just because he doesn't have a conditioning advantage, doesn't mean he can't win the fight. It means if he's going to win the fight, he's going to have to show us something that we didn't know that he had, and that's what the greats do. George St. Pierre took everybody down, and we were convinced when he got in there with Matt Hughes that if he couldn't find that takedown, he couldn't win, and that's when George threw a head kick and knocked him out, and we all go, oh, this guy can strike too. But this is going to be one of those moments. Chimaev, to get victory, is going to have to show us something that he's never shown us before.